joining on tonight. We are on episode 3 talking about narcissistic personality disorder, and we will be starting here in a few more seconds. Hopefully, I won't be before you long. It is always a pleasure to have you on. My name is Surette Pierre. This is something I have been studying, researching, learning more and more about over the last little over 20 years. And it's something, and I probably will always say this when I do this subject in person, when I do one on one and group sessions, and when I'm doing things like this for you guys for free. But make sure we're mindful of what we say and do um, regarding the word narcissism, narcissistic, right? A narcissist. We want to be mindful that we don't just, casually use the term haphazardly. We need to be sensitive to those who may be diagnosed or may be exhibiting signs of it. We need to be more empowered and empowered as well and not get lost in the label of it. And so that's something that's near and dear because, as we know, and I say this each time now, right? Last several years, we hear about it more and more. Um, we see it, right, online. We have friends and family, neighbors, co-workers who use the term, and most often they're using it out of context, right? They're using it casually, and they're not considering the fact that it could be people around them that may actually have been diagnosed with it. And so we just want to walk in love, right? We all want to make sure that we operate in love in all areas with all things, include narcissistic personality disorder. And so, if you don't know, I'm just going to catch us up a little bit over the last 3 episodes, this being the third. And so, just so you know, when you look at narcissistic personality disorder, also called NPD, and more than likely, all of my live streams here in this episodic series will probably say NPD, okay? But it's a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self importance. An inflated sense of self importance. Narcissistic personality is found more commonly in men. More commonly in men. The cause is unknown, but likely involves a combination of genetic, so that's, pathological, well, your family pathologic, I'm saying it wrong. Okay. Pathology. Thank you, Holy Ghost. So it involves a combination of genetic and environmental factors, okay? Environmental factors. Um, Rare is the cure. There is a spectrum of how many cases statistically they say that they have in a year, maybe around 200,000, around and about. Treatment does help, or it can help, but of course it depends on the person receiving the help and how much work they're willing to put in. But this condition, as they say, in the psychotherapy realm and the psychotherapy um, um, industry, if you will, they say, right, that it can't be cured. All right. Now, I'm not saying that, right? But that's what they say. They also say that all of us are on the narcissistic spectrum. Now, I don't believe either of the last two things I said. Welcome, Alex. I don't believe, I believe Jesus Christ can heal anything, but I'm just giving you their facts because my truth is the truth of the Word of God, which is found in the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. So if you or anyone you know has been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, don't fall prey to believing that you can't be healed, no matter what they say. They're going on scientific facts, okay? And so, as again, they say that it's chronic, right? MPD, they say it's chronic and can last for years or be lifelong. Again, I can't tell you how to believe. I believe that Jesus is Lord. I'm a Jesus girl, and I love Father. And so, because Jesus is of God, all things are possible. Okay. Now, we've gone over in the last two episodes some of the characteristics. I'm just going to give you just a little bit in case you're just joining for the first time. Again, they have an increasingly unreasonable high sense of self-importance. So everything, think about it on steroids. Think about it being on a whole nother stratosphere, if you will. Okay, so the extreme, we're talking extreme, um, and narcissism, when diagnosed, or if you're ever trying to kind of learn and figure out if someone around you may be exhibiting the signs or the traits, they require constant, excessive, listen to that word, excessive admiration. Okay. So they feel that they deserve privileges and special treatment. So there's like a superiority complex, right? So the level of self absorbed, the level of self obsessed is something that, again, it's very, very extreme. Okay. It's very inflated, run of the mill type of spectrum that we're looking at. So they expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements. So just for being alive, just for being born, just for being awake and, getting started on their way in a new time and on a new day, they expect to be recognized for those things. Um, they make achievements that they do receive and any talents that they've been gifted with, right? How many of you know that all of our giftings come from above, okay? And God is just lending us those things and entrusting us with them. But to a narcissist, it seems bigger. Their achievements, their gifts seems bigger than they are, okay? Again, the causes of MPD complex, but it is a mental health condition and it's associated with extreme self involvement, okay? Um, a need for excessive admiration, as we stated, and a lack of empathy. We talked about that on episode 2. We're talking about non existent empathy. So think about the most extreme inconsideration that one could possess, one could operate in, right? You would say you've never seen anybody that selfish. So think of selfishness as it relates to being extremely inconsiderate. And that would give you an idea of a person who's narcissistic. Okay. Now, we talked about a couple of things, and I'm going to go over some of them. Again, the first day we talked about gaslighting, and then episode 2 we talked about negging, right? Negging. Now, as I talked about narcissist and narcissistic, narcissism, those words being sensitive, not to just throw them out there, even buzz on, they're popular. Don't use it out of context unless you know someone's been diagnosed. And I hope just as you wouldn't want to be called, something derogatory looked at it, or something that diagnosed as, whether it's medical, mental, think about it the same way. You wouldn't want anybody to go say, hey, narcissist, sit down, or you're a narcissist, or God, I've never seen a narcissist like you. And you don't have any bearing. You don't really know what to look for. You're just repeating what other people are saying or what you see. So don't do that. But be mindful some of the signs, again, and things that you may see from both sides, whether you have realize yet that you're dealing with a boss or a friend or a family member, that this type of toxicity is happening, or in a romantic relationship. But you'll start on the receiving end. You're with humiliation and criticism, control and shame, accusing, blaming, and denial. That's the narcissist. They're very accusatory, right? They blame everybody but taking responsibility for themselves. And I'm talking about next to ever. Very, very rare to none. Okay. Do they take accountability, or do they take any type of ownership? They're in denial to the point of delusion. Okay. They neglect, they go through bouts of neglect, um, and they make you go into isolation. Okay. And so we talked about masterminding of manipulation when we look at gaslighting. And so when you're in an abusive situation, it's very easy to miss some of the subtle early signs, particularly with narcissistic abuse. Um, and the goal for a narcissist is to wear you out over time, right? To get into your mind and to break you down, okay? And it's an undercurrent of abusive, persistent abusive behavior, okay? They do things like to try to, frighten you and control you. And again, as we said, isolate you, okay? If it can, but doesn't always involve physical violence. Now, I am a domestic abuse survivor, where I, through the help of God, got out of a very physically abusive relationship. Now, there was other types of abuse, but the main abuse was physical. Okay. Now, with a narcissist, there may be threats of violence directed towards you or your loved ones. Again, it's characterized by their words, their actions, and the consistency of these uh, types of character traits, right? Um, Again, it's mostly gradually, but it does happen again and again. And so, whether you are with negating, criticizing from them, or humiliation, just know that at times they will use nicknames, right? Calling you out of your name. And I don't know about you, but I don't think being called a female dog or anything that is a curse word, I wouldn't call it a nickname. I would call it devaluing, right? I would call it extreme disrespect. So they'll blatantly call you whatever those words are, any type of insults. Okay. Um, Even if they use terms of endearment that don't devalue and dishonor and disrespect you, but the way they say it, they actually highlight things that you're sensitive about. So if you did not like the nickname that your father gave you, and you've expressed that to your partner, friend, or family member, or coworker, right, or associate, and then they keep using that name to describe you, knowing you're sensitive and you've told them that's a boundary, okay, and they keep breaking your boundaries. So something like nail biter, trying to stop biting your nails, you're polishing it on there, looking for the latest way to get the result that you, and stop biting your nails, and they'll call you that. Look at you, you little nail biter, okay? Or my chubby pumpkin, right? Things like that. And they also ignore your request, as I said, to stop. You've told them over and over that you don't, and they, so character assassination that can lead to smear campaigns, that's very classic for a narcissist, yelling, swear, you know, intimidating you, attempting to, and thinking they're doing a good job of it. A lot of good cop, bad cop. Okay, a lot of that, cat and mouse. They do things to make you feel small and inconsequential. Okay, maybe they don't hit you, right? But they might pound their fist at on the wall, okay, on the door, put a hole in the wall on the door, okay, or throw things and damage. So, and it's when they do it, it's the rage, and it's um, the pathology of how they receive information and what they make things mean, and how it sets them off, 0 to 100 without any warning. Okay, so it's that. Okay, they're very patronizing. They like to try to embarrass you publicly. They're very dismissive, and everything is a joke. Okay, and when people play around with you, right? When someone that really loves you, y'all can banter and go back and forth. It is not like that. So if you express discomfort, for example, with something, they'll snap back. Remember ownership. They never say I'm sorry. They never see the bleeding dog that just got hit by a vehicle, and everyone else, is showing empathy and like, oh my God, oh, what happened? They're like, look at me, don't look at the dog. Mm, mm. Like, okay, he got hit, what? So it's like, if you can think of an inflated sense of nonchalantness, but like unlike this world, right? Unlike a basic one that you've seen, a classic sense in many different people. Or you may be nonchalant, like I'm nonchalant, okay? But we're talking about, it's like being on steroids, the stratosphere of nonchalant, not your typical nonchalant. They insult your appearance, they belittle accomplishments, they put down your interests, push all your buttons, and they make threats, they can monitor your whereabouts, spy on you, okay? They want to know your passwords or assist you go password free, and regularly check your internet history, emails, texts, because it's a whole nother level of control. Now, as we talked about on episode 1, when you look at gaslighting, that's someone abusing you may deny, and this is almost always with the narcissist, they deny the specific events, they deny the arguments, they deny the agreements ever happened. So I don't care how much proof, you could have a gold envelope straight from the PI, okay? And it could have naked pictures and some weed, and you hold it up to them, right? And they'll say, that's not me. You can clearly see that's not me. They'll stop pointing to the picture and look right here. That's not my nose. I mean, like with a straight face. And it's like the best imaging and all the different pixels clear. And they be like, nah, B, that ain't me. Okay. And even as they do that, they do it so much over time, the gaslighting, that it leaves you questioning your own memory, because of how it's very undermining, very, covert. It's like, and I know I was extreme in the gold envelope, private investigator example. So just think about little things over time when you know that they left the eggs out, and you just casually say, babe, did you realize you left the eggs out this morning? I hope they're okay. You say it in a nice tone. I don't know if they've been out too long. I hope, maybe we should throw them away, you think? And they'll say, I didn't leave. Remember, you left before me. No, I left before you. You must have let them out. And you're like, no, babe. After I boiled them, I put them back. No, I don't know what happened then, because I ain't been in the fridge. You're like, it's really not that serious. Okay? It's really not that serious. You're not going, the egg police is not going to come get you and lock you up. And so a lot of the things that my clients and others that have gone through these things, they know that your well-being, your health becomes affected over time. It just wears you down in so many ways, okay? They like to make all the decisions. This might involve closing a joint bank account or canceling doctor's appointments. They may withdraw from for, or they'll do it on your behalf, okay? They might even tell you what to wear, what to eat, and how much to eat while they are undermining you, like we talked about last time in episode 2, they're really big on always being under the belt. Everything they say is below the belt, but it's in this like hide your hand, you know, tuck your tail type thing. It's weird. So it's not like always rah rah. Okay, it's almost like you really gonna wear that? You wear that? It's one of those. It's one of those things. Um, they also emotionally blackmail you. Okay. Now, in doing that, they kind of attempt to get you to do things by manipulating your feelings. So they might key questions to test you. Okay. They always are going to take on the role of a victim or try to guilt trip you. They control your access to finances we're talking about. So, make sure you keep, your bank accounts and receipts for stuff. They'll have everything in their name, and you have on them. You have to come to them for money. They want you and expect you to keep, your own receipts and account for every penny you spend after you've gone to them to get the money. You're a child, you have a narcissistic parent. They're extremely toxic and controlling, overbearing, extremely manipulative, very, very controlling. They lecture you constantly. They give direct orders, from I don't care what happened to you stay here until, you can act better, things like that. Like you're a grown person, they're talking to you like you're a child. But yet, as we've said before on these series, they want the respect of a king or a queen, but they have the accountability of a child. Okay. They always have outbursts. So they're always enraged. They're angrily shouting about how inconsiderate and uncooperative you are, but they don't have a considerate bone in their body. I mean, they're very entitled. So it's another level of inconsideration that you will see. They they always are feigning helplessness and hopelessness. So they always say they don't know how to do something. You know, think about damsel in distress, but very inflated. And again, although they're more statistically shown that there are more men who are narcissists, just think of anybody who you know who always is asking someone to help them do any type of thing. They don't even attempt to try to learn on their own or make an attempt to figure things out on their own. Um, and then and there are women who have NPD diagnosed as such. And so just think about any woman who always wants somebody to come to their aid, hoping you'll simply, um, you know, um, oblige them, their request to make it happen, make it do what it needs to do. They're very unpredictable. So they explode for no clear reason and then suddenly shower you with affection. So that's the love bombing. I'm not going to go into that today. We've gone in, the episode 1 was about gaslighting. Episode 2 was about negging, negging. Today we're going to talk about DARVO, which I'm getting ready to go into here shortly. The ability that I was mentioning, mood shifts from upbeat to dark and angry with little warning. So as I've said before, it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of situation. And in doing so, they they're they're leaving you never sure what it just happened, never know what to expect because they're so predictable. Okay, so the highs and the lows are very extreme, from one extreme to the other, from 0 to 100. Now I didn't go into this as much as I usually do when over gaslighting in episode 1, but stonewalling is very, very common. Particularly during a disagreement or a conflict, they'll shut down. Okay, so it's almost like when we put our fingers in our ears when we're children. Ah, it's like that, but they may not go as far, but they'll just be like, and you'd be like, are you? Do you hear me? I say you're not gonna answer me. They'll be like, or they might be like, whatever song they like, they might start, humming it, singing it out loud. That's stonewalling. Okay. That is extremely common, extremely common. They just, you don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If they're not going to take accountability, they're not going to ever take ownership, you got to conform. Bow. That's the mindset. Bow. Okay. So without going into more, just trying to recap on the first two episodes, I want to go into the DARVO method. What to do when these things happen, when they accuse you, they're blaming you all the time. They're always in denial, that make you second guess what you saw, heard previously. You remember exactly the order of the conversation, what you said and how they responded and what they said and how fun, and they'd be like, that's not what I said. Where you get that from? I never said that. I mean, convincingly so. They be like, no, I didn't say that. Right, type of thing. So whether you are dealing with them, acting jealous, no matter what it is, or they're trivializing things, what you can do, which is so good, and again, the things that whether you have a diagnosis of the person or not, when you see them operating in what it's called denial, okay, denying responsibility, attack, roles becoming reversed between the two of you or a group, the true victim and the offender. So the D, let's go over that in DARVO. They deny responsibility. So the offender will minimize or outright deny the accusation made by the true victim. So you're the true victim, who they're just chipping away at the old block of your head over time, beating you down, tearing you down, making you think you're crazy, because that's what they want to do. That's what they start telling people, because they want to be the first to paint a negative picture, because they have a false image that they portray all the time to everybody else at work. They seem, so easy to get along with, such a good helper, all these things. Very responsible, very dependable. It's like looking at the news station and somebody blew up a whole office and all the people that they interview say that they were a good guy. I never thought John would have done that. Such a kind, gentle soul. Never missed work, off in coffee and donuts for the office. I had no indication. It's like that. Okay. Now, the A in DARVO is attack. The offender attacks and discredits the true victim's mental stability. They discredit the true victim's values. So no matter how many morals and values they lack, right? It's like this, night and day, yours all the way up here. You got boundaries you set, right? And you have standards that you made very clear, and you might have went as far as having non-negotiables, okay? Okay? And them, because of the level of their trauma, right? And the genetic and, pathology, family pathology, and all the other that they say are a part of why there is this particular mental illness and what it can stem from. They may not have anywhere near the type of morals and values you have, because you got to remember they have extreme, like not your basic, not your common, but extreme low self-worth, extreme low self-value, and extreme low self-esteem. So they're going to discredit you, who is the true victim. They're going to anything concerning you, and they're going to always make it out like you're the one that's tripping. Because they'll, again, you're always saying things that never happen, right? You're always doing things wrong. They put things on you, like we talked about in the last episode. They'll be like, "No, you know how you always tripping over your feet," and you're like, "No, I don't trip over my feet." Like, you've been doing that. You ain't never been wanting to keep your balance. You always, tripping over your feet. I was telling Roger that at work yesterday, and he even said, "Yeah, I noticed that about your girl. Yeah, I noticed about your mom. She does always. She real slew-footed, and you be looking, who's slew-footed? What at?" Okay, he'd be like, "Huh?" Okay, now the R in DARVO is roles become reversed between the true victim and the offender. So the true victim is stunned into confusion, like I just said, you saw my face, like, I mean, I know my feet flat, I don't have an arch, but I ain't never tripped over it. Ma, hey, Ma, have I ever been one to be clumsy? Do you ever remember me like tripping over my feet or anything? No, baby. You be like, I thought so. Okay. They always are left silenced and stunned and unsure of what they've just heard, right? And not sure what to do with the information. Okay? So again, when you look at that last one, right? The roles become reversed between the true victim and the offender. You're like, okay, I'm the one that's sensible, that making all the sense, or am I? Do I trip over my own feet? No, that's right. Because I remember yesterday. Let me start writing this down because this is happening so more often now. It's more free that I can't keep up. Like, let me keep a tab on this. So when they do the reversal type thing, um, the victim and offender, they may have dialogue like, "You make it hard to do the right thing when you're like this. You knew what you were doing," so they'll choose you being manipulative and coy. Okay, so they'll say, "Don't act like you are perfect. Kind of like your mom and them anyway. Y'all think y'all better than everybody else." You'd be like, where'd that come from? Okay, "You are just as bad. You don't want to owe me an apology." And you like, you never apologize. Like, if they gave you $1.5 million to apologize, you would say, "But I haven't done anything. Why would I apologize for something that I didn't? You're not going to make me admit to something that I didn't do. Why would I do that?" So you just want to hear it. Is that going to help you? If I just say it, would that help you? That they're like that. I mean, so you just want to hear, "I'm sorry." I mean, that don't make no sense. Why would I say something? That would be admitting to something that I didn't do. Why would I say I'm sorry when I know I never did anything? I wasn't there. I didn't rob that bank. I don't care how many news stations you said I was on. So why would I? You're sitting here crying and saying how much, you know, you believed in me and how very, you know, hurt and how much this is going to destroy the family because I robbed the bank, but I didn't rob the bank. So I'll be right back. And you'll never see them again because they robbed the bank and they went into hiding. Okay. So, again, DARVO is one of those things. When you resist, because as I was saying, you want to make sure when you realize there has to be some next steps. There has to be something that I need to do about these feelings of confusion. On the first episode, I said it's almost like a Lifetime commercial on the Lifetime network or any type of film, TV that is a liken to that, for example purposes only, that type of style of storytelling where you go into a room and you don't remember. You're discombobulated so often that you can't remember what you just went in the room for. And I'm not talking about aging. I'm not talking about memory loss. It's like where you've seen Lifetime episodes where someone, put medicine, crushed medicine in their drink, right? And then you see the response of the person like over a course of a couple of weeks when they're dialoguing and building up, and it's almost like they're always like, I know I just went downstairs. I got my orange juice, but where did I put my cigarettes? And it's almost like one of these, like you just want to be like, ugh, like you just want to shake it off, shake it away, shake off your processing, shake off your ability to decipher. It's like, okay, that's how it's often explained, and often when I hear more about it, um, there's so many different stories. I mean, just so many things and how these things have affected many people. So when you look at next steps, a true victim, when they're left stunned, when they're left confused, but they know there's something on the other side and they don't know how to get there, they begin looking for next steps. What actions? Like I said, start documenting, start, recording and doing different things, journaling, diary, and going back to see daily what happened the day before. That's when you realize it's not you. Like I did with the joke about calling my mom. Find someone who you can call and be like, now, am I blowing this out of proportion? They just said my boss gave me an assignment, and in front of the whole employee staff meeting, he just went off, and he said that I wasn't capable of the assignment anyway, and just, jerked all of my papers out of my hand, that type thing. And then you call somebody and tell them play by play what was said, your response. And because you want to know, am I missing something? Am I overreacting? Because you got to remember, they're always saying you're overreacting. A narcissist is going to always say you're dramatic, you're too sensitive. I didn't say that, you're imagining that. It's in your mind. You need to go get that checked. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you tips for resisting, and then I'll come back on hopefully tomorrow. So put your notifications on. And I did not say who I am. I am Surette Pierre. I am, among many things, anything orator. I'm a speaker, global inspirational speaker. I'm a healing evangelist, licensed evangelist. I am what I call a wounded healer. So I've gotten much training in the area of just kind of walking people through their healing journey. Okay. I'm a cleansing specialist practitioner, personal license, and personal coach. The list goes on. Brand rep. So I love doing everything online except when I do speaking and preaching, of course, in person. So the bulk of my consulting firm is online. My website to reach me, my main site is under construction. My web developers and designers are almost finished, but do feel free to go over to connect with Surette connect with Surette.club, join our e-tribe. Go ahead, download the free motivational message there. It's a digital download, and just set your notifications. Instagram, Facebook, all the different streaming right now that I am on. Clubhouse, all of the different ones. Go ahead and as I close, just know that this is probably going to take a while, several weeks series. Exist, okay? You need to take next steps, and what you can do. Tips for doing that is to document, okay? When you document, write down or record what I said, what happened, so you can keep track of what truly happened, right? And then you can safeguard from being gaslit. I was talking to someone and this movie came on, y'all. I'm gonna have it next time. But do y'all know that Woody Harrelson movie with what's the comedian that's on everything at all times? Kevin Hart. And I'll give you the title the next time. And that movie was on, and I was in a conversation with someone. And while the movie was on, it's the craziest thing. The script, what they were saying in the movie, was telling me the heart and the intention of the person I was talking to. So if you ever see the movie, and I'll get the title again, it's saying the whole time, as a part of the movie in their, script, it's saying he's gaslighting you, he's love bombing you, he's stonewalling you. And it was almost like, how you like, okay, God, I hear you. You're like, I didn't even need discernment for that. You let the script put me on the game. Does that make sense? If you ever see it, it was a good movie. The whole movie where they're trying to figure something out, that was what a lot of the dialogue was about. So document everything to safeguard yourself from being gaslighted. Safe space. If you're being harassed by an offender, find a space where you can clear your head and calm your nervous system. Okay, that's how serious this can be, right? Go away. If you haven't made a plan to, leave for good, go away, right? Get into a better oasis and sanctuary, visibly somewhere around water or whatever you like, nature, whatever it is, and just Christ-centered meditate. Just meditate on the word, meditate on, your, a lot of people call them affirmations. I call them decrees and declarations and commands. Whatever it is, command your day, command your time, do good, healthy, Christ-centered, breathing techniques. Do something. Get away from the mundane, everyday, going in and coming out as a result to whatever you do daily. Work, your own business, your own ministry, or anything, of the sort. Get away. Find someone, go get an Airbnb in town, get you a hotel room, even if it's for a couple of hours. Changing scenery can make a difference because, as we know about even clutter, where we lay our head, what that can do, because it's so many different demonically when you have a lot of clutter, what it does to your headspace and what it does to you as a whole. And so find somewhere else where you can, just clear your head and pray. Find also a validating support system. Not all people can discern manipulation and covert abuse. So lean into the people who will not further gaslight and confuse you. Okay. So people who, are not narcissistic, people who have healthy, godly esteem, people who know their identity is in Christ Jesus. Whatever that means to you, with finding someone who's not draining, who's not extremely needy and clingy. You need someone who's on the top of their own game, right? You need somebody who's not going to suck the life out of you. You are already going through that. You don't need to be around that. Okay. So again, that could be the same person, as I demonstrated, being facetious, saying, calling my mom. That could be the same person you've been running, game by, running scenarios through to make sure that person who said that you were crazy, that you really aren't. So you have a third party that you're running stuff to, and they'd be like, nah, you was right for that. Now that's out of pocket. Now that they know that won't even, cute. You need somebody to be like, help you process. And lastly, when doing this, getting that support, seeking validation, support, anticipate DARVO. So anticipate that the offender who uses this method likely will not change except for the grace of God, right? Without accepting they do this. So first they have to admit all these things, majority of these things we've been talking about the last 3 episodes. And remember, they don't admit anything. So the likelihood is very slim that they ever will, except it's an inflated sense of the transforming power of Jesus as it relates to yielding. It has awarded them so much fake power, and they have gained in their heads so much from victimizing people and giving them a false sense of they're proud of each next victim. Okay. So if they're looking for love, they haven't received love, they won't do the work to move into healing from their own trauma. And that the older they get and they use it at other people's expense, they use it. And this is even different than people pleasing and seeking people's approval and seeking others' acceptance. MPD is such a it's very sad to watch. But again, it stems from extreme trauma. As we said earlier, it really is a disregard for others. The level entitlement, it's literally out of this world. It's so complex, and it's so many layers and levels to it. But just do know that alone, they are not alone. There's treatment, there are options. Although it's a mental health disorder, there are ways to find out how to move into healing and getting all the therapy and all the different things that are out there for that person. But you take care of yourself. You make sure that knowing that they'll continue, that you take and make your moves, take the best option for you. I suggest, leaving, but I can't tell you what to do. But I will leave you with these last two things, okay? Quit re-explaining yourself. The more you recount your experience and resist the role reversal, the more aggressive the offender will become, okay? Instead of becoming a broken record, on the conversation. And I think we'll talk about that, not the next episode, but soon thereafter. You have to learn what to say, okay? Because they thrive off getting you to respond emotionally. So if you flip, fell right into their hands. And that's the whole game play. Tell you, oh no, I didn't say that. I wasn't there. That wasn't me. I'm not talking about back in the day, been involved with someone or saw, even on movies where sometimes the first thing a person will do, even with proof, is deny their involvement in something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like proof. Like this is your name, first, middle, last on the document. It's got a seal on it. It's been notarized. And this is you. It's the clearest picture of all pictures in the world. This is you in the bed with a man. Like y'all know I'm an actor, so I'm gonna be extreme in my example. I can see you, I can see them, I can see you in the act. Here's the picture. And they'll be like, that's not me. I don't know what you see. You need to get your eyes checked. Okay? So stop trying to say, you can't tell me I need to get my eyes checked. I know what I said. Are you going to deny that? So you going to sit there and say I'm crazy? They done said you crazy for the last 16 years that you've been with them. Okay? They done said you sensitive, you crazy. They done told everybody in the neighborhood you crazy because they got to get to them before you put them out there. Okay? Before, you beat them to the punch. They done said that you extra, you dramatic. They done said all that. They done said you imagining things. You must have dreamt that. They do that a lot. I have a lot of clients tell me that you must have dreamt that. You dreaming. You must have dreamt that. So stop trying to explain yourself. Go seek a counselor who is informed, one who actually knows about coercive control, one who knows about high conflict personalities and DARVO. So again, we talked about DARVO tonight, denying responsibility. A is for attack, R is for reversing roles, V is for the victim and the offender, and that's when the role reversal happens. And so I hope that I've helped you in some way. As again, I have studied, researched, lived through, counseled, partner with agencies and organizations on all types of abuse, to include narcissistic. And this is one of the ones that almost always, along with physical abuse, where they say, get out and get out now. Okay, I'm Sarette Pierre. Please set your notifications so that we can talk a little more at another time on another day. I wish I could give you a schedule, but at this point I can't. So go ahead and set those notifications so you know when I go live. Please share this with others. Thank you so much for joining. Again, have a good night.